Imagine you are travelling along the ancient Ridgeway and your horse has lost a shoe. Nightfall is fast approaching. What do? Well, legend has it that if you come here, tether your horse and leave a coin, provided you do not watch, by morning the coin would be gone and your horse would magically be reshod by an invisible blacksmith. Wayland the Smith is this legendary blacksmith, a notable figure of Norse, Anglo-Saxon and Germanic mythology, and is famously depicted on the Frank's casket. The Saxons who settled this area likely inscribed his name on this monument, Wayland Smithy. The name was first recorded in an early medieval land deed from 908 AD, documented in a charter from King Edward in 955 AD. However, the Saxons were not the builders of this structure. For that we have to go 4,000 years earlier. Hi, I'm Louise, an archaeologist exploring the distant past of Britain and beyond, and in this video we are looking at Wayland Smithy. Long barrows are the first monuments ever built in Britain and often contain human remains in their chambers, meaning they've been interpreted as tombs. Over 300 have been discovered, and Wayland Smithy is one of the most famous examples. The Barrow sits along the Ridgeway, a path frequently referred to as Britain's oldest road, and shares the hills with the Uffington White Horse and Iron Age hill fort. The Avebury landscape is also just 25 kilometres southeast. Wayland Smithy also belongs to a particular style of long barrow, the Cotswold 7 style. These are typically chambered and contain comparatively larger quantities of human bone, averaging between 40 to 50 people in each one. It features a distinctive trapezoidal mound made of chalk and earth, measuring just under 55 metres long. This material would have come from flanking side ditches. A continuous curve of sarsen stones defines the perimeter of the mound, which would have originally been bright white from the chalk. Within the south end of the mound is the chamber, featuring a narrow and partially constricted passage leading off into two smaller side chambers aligned east to west. At the entrance of the chamber is a megalithic façade where 4 sarsens remain, but originally there would have been 6. I illustrated this reconstruction of how it may have appeared just after construction. Excavations in 1919 and 1920 found that the chambers had been ransacked in previous centuries, but they still contained the albeit jumbled remains of several people, including men, women and children. However, later excavations in the 1960s revealed something fascinating. The monument we see today had been built over an earlier oval barrow. The first construction, Wayland Smithy 1, had a box-like mortuary structure made of wood and stone, featuring a rectangular paved area of sarsen slabs with 2 split tree trunks at either side, with human remains placed inside. A single crouch articulated burial was placed at one end, and in front were the mostly disarticulated remains of the other people. Articulated means bones found in their natural, connected anatomical position during an excavation, meaning in an intact burial, an individual was placed when the soft tissue was still connecting their skeleton. Immediately to the south of the mortuary structure, a double row of small post holes was interpreted as a raised exposure platform for excarnation, where bodies may have been left to decompose before being placed in the chamber. In total, 14 people were laid to rest in this monument, 11 men, 2 women and a child. The first burials were placed in roughly 3,590 to 3,555 BC, and the last in 3,580 to 3,550 BC. This means the barrow was used for no more than 15 years. Less than a single generation and potentially just a single year. What were the circumstances that led to a group of people being buried in such a short period of time? Maybe there was an outbreak of disease or these people died from injuries. However, I think the answer is likely violence. 3 leaf-shaped arrowheads were discovered during excavation. These being votive offerings is unlikely, as crucially the tips were missing, usually meaning it has been fired and hit a hard target. So 3 individuals or more likely suffered lethal arrowhead strikes. An embedded flint projectile tip in a hip bone of bone group 12 would have entered through the abdomen, and the bone shows no evidence of healing. We can likely never know for sure. Evidence of violence like lethal arrowhead strikes, leaving unequivocal evidence in the bone, is unlikely, but we can still speculate. I have a video coming out in the next few months delving deeper into the function of these long barrows. I also wonder what the relationship between these people was. To my knowledge, there hasn't been any DNA testing, but at Hazelton North, another Cotswold 7 long barrow, the oldest family tree was uncovered, with 27 individuals revealed as biological relatives from 5 continuous generations of a single extended family. Could the people in Wayland Smithy 1 be a family of early farmers? Do we have a family killed in some violent event and quickly interned into this monument by their community? After 1 to 35 years, the second phase of the monument was constructed. It was built on the same alignment, but at this much larger scale. The chamber only takes up a small section of the mound and consists of a narrow and partially constricted passage leading to a pair of chambers aligned east to west. Unfortunately, very little can be said about the people who were laid inside. At the entrance was an exceptional megalithic façade of large upright sarcens. The only other monument to have this is West Kennet Long Barrow. However, dating of Wayland Smithy 2 puts it at 200 years younger than West Kennet, which lies just 25 kilometres southeast. Perhaps the builders wanted to echo the spiritual significance of long-established traditions, maybe linking themselves to the earlier group of people living in the Avebury landscape. The monument's use probably extended to the middle decades of the 34th century BC, and then it was later picked up by folklore. Have you visited Wayland Smithy? Let me know in the comments, and like and subscribe for more. You can also support the channel on Patreon and Ko-fi. Thank you for exploring the distant past with me. There's always more to uncover, so I'll see you in the next one.